I'm so excited to have this panel. And so I want to start out with something positive. So tell me, and I'll start with you, Louis, tell me, what is the best thing about fatherhood?
I think that you get the opportunity to be better to your children than you probably experience yourself. One of the biggest joys that I have as being a father is that I get to see a replication of myself in my children. And I also get to guide them in a way as to where I've been down the corridors of time and down the hallway of life a little further than they have. It's not that they always listen to me, but it does feel good to be able to just give them some transferable principles that I may or may not have picked up by my father.
I love that. Dr. Tolson, well, first of all, one of your kids has already written a book, and they're not even adults yet. But I want you to tell us the most challenging thing about being a father.
Okay. The best thing I was going to say is entertainment, because, kids can be funny. The most challenging thing, I think, is that point of departure. And when you realize that you can't mold them into your image, and you have to appreciate them for the amazing person that they are becoming, which is completely distinct from who you are. So that can be a challenge at first, but once you recognize that the individual that they are becoming can be greater than you, it becomes one of those joys.
Yeah, I can see that being a challenge and a joy, actually. Brian, you are instrumental in helping fathers adopt children, or people in the LGBTQ community adopt children. Tell us about that. And is it more, because adoption is just challenging anyway. Our executive producer adopted a child. I have many friends who are adopted parents. So how is it doing it specifically for the LGBTQ community?
Sure. So first, thanks. It's great to be here. I'll tell you that there are actually several different paths to fatherhood that most of us can choose to take. So my husband and I created our family through a combination of adoption and surrogacy. And so when we did this, it was 12, 13 years ago. There were no resources whatsoever out there to help out. And we had to figure it all out on our own. And top of that, we thought we were going to adopt a baby boy, but it didn't end up happening 3 months into it. So then we signed up to become dads through surrogacy. I'm HIV positive, so we had to figure out how we can make that all work out. I have been for over 30 years. So no one knows more than me just how complicated our paths to fatherhood are for gay men, which is why we launched Gays with Kids. And a few months ago, we actually launched something called GWK Academy, where we walk you through all your options, and then once you figure out what the best path to fatherhood is for your family, we'll take you step by step through every process.
I love that. I want to get into, Louis, with you. There are a lot of challenges with fatherhood, but one thing, you and I were Mrs. Obama's Culture of Democracy panel together this past weekend, and I hogged all your time. I could not stop talking to you. I was talking to you all day, and because your story was so compelling, and you were talking to me about being a returning citizen after serving 14 years in prison, and what fathers go through in prison. There are over 800,000 parents in federal state prison. 92% are fathers. So talk to us about the challenges that happen both inside prison and also what happens when you get out when it comes to fatherhood.
Yeah, without question. So look, the United States population for African Americans is approximately 12.5%, but we make up approximately 40% of the United States incarceration population, which means both incarcerated and people who are under supervision in the community. Of that number, there are approximately 51% who happen to be parents. And of that number, when you reduce it down, approximately 35% or so happen to be African American fathers. And I fell into that statistics. When I was approximately 5 years old, both of my parents were incarcerated, and I was raised by my maternal grandmother. And then when I hit the age of approximately 23 or so, there I am perpetuating that transgenerational pathology of incarceration, so to speak, where I was incarcerated myself, leaving my children to be raised by their mothers. And I can tell you, when I was in, and I'm just getting a little emotional just thinking about it. When I was in, being able to try to parent your children in the course of a 5 to 6 hour visit in 15-minute telephone call increments where you only get 300 minutes a month, when you're trying to stay as engaged as you can through letters, through emails, et cetera, it is extremely, I don't think that there's a word in the Webster's dictionary to appropriately give grammatical profundity to the level of emotional weight that comes with that. And so, I can tell you it was challenging there. Even when I came home from incarceration, when I went in, my kids were approximately 5 years old. When I come home, they're approximately 18. And so they are their own person. They're growing into their own person. And that was a challenge in and of itself. But I can tell you, through love, through grace, through prayer, through determination, through consistency, we are far much better now than what we were before. And incarceration is something that really tears at the fabric of who we are.